We spent a lot of time at this conference talking about cannabis banking. You have 33 states that have legalized either for medicinal or recreational purposes cannabis, obviously creating a state-federal delta. All of the regulators are dealing with this. This is an issue that we believe requires legislative attention, and we are pushing the SAFE Act, which is an incremental step forward. It doesn't fix all of the problems here, but nonetheless we think is an incremental, very positive step, and we were encouraged that Chair Waters, and we shared this with her yesterday, was able to move that bill through the committee, and it will soon, we believe, probably before the August recess, be passed before the full House. Everyone's dealing with this issue. You three are dealing with this issue. Can you just give me your initial sense of how you're dealing with it with these banks that are subject to the challenge of a different state of federal and state rules? Tom.
I mean, the chairman spoke about this a couple months ago. There's a conflict in many states between federal law and state law. For better, for worse, we're responsible to follow federal law.
Right.
And so we would very much like to have clarification on this, and whatever legislative answer gets us to clarity would be our preferred outcome.
So in addition to that, at the same time, the reality on the ground is there are businesses that are considered state legal around this substance, and the money that is generated from that, again, is a challenge for the banks. And so we do have banks that are working with legal businesses. I think it has caused there to be another conversation about how do you apply things like the anti-money laundering rules. And I think in that sense, I'm comfortable that the guidance is one, it's not an easy judgment for the banks to make, but they have to deem what's the level of risk, how do I price for that, how do I manage that, and I think it is particularly challenging for them. So I look forward to that resolution that provides more clarity to the bankers than I think the supervisors are going to be able to.
Sure.
That really is a risk judgment that they have to make. Some of them are doing it, and I think getting comfortable with that. Others, I think, are waiting for the broader resolution.
In the interim, between now and when we achieve what I hope to be a legislative victory, is there any guidance for banks who are caught between that you would be willing to share?
My advice to them is do your homework.
Yeah.
You have to know, this is a case where you have to know your customer and you have to weigh the risk of what you're worried about could happen around this. And so I know people want better guidance. And again, we had a meeting several years ago at our Denver branch with both legislators, with people in the business, in the marijuana business, listening to the challenges that have come out of this. And I think the outcome of that was clear. We have to get reconciliation across federal and state law ultimately to make this work. In the meantime, you're going to have some of these challenging situations.
Sure. Raphael, anything to add?
I think we are in an impossible situation because we don't actually have a vote at either level, but are asked to sort of navigate in this middle space. And so, there's not really a clear thing for us to say in terms of we can't give anyone 100% certainty in terms of how this is going to turn out. So I hope that that we do get some legislative clarity sooner rather than later. You said the end of the summer. I'd love it if it was.
That'll be the House. That would be the House moving by the August recess.
So
Senate's
I would love some resolution one way or the other as soon as we possibly can, because this is only becoming more prominent. So I'm in Georgia. We just passed medical marijuana piece of legislation. I think this is going to come up in every state. And I would just rather be able to tell them something that I knew was right, rather than say, well, good luck. See what you do.
Good luck from a regulator are not two words that we're interested in hearing. But no, you are exactly right. While we're at 33 states today, every time it gets on a ballot, it passes. So right now, 70% of citizens in the U.S. are in a state where it's legal in one form or another. And this fall, it'll be on another couple of states. So we're 33, soon to be 40. And so I think we passed the tipping point. And that's not to suggest we're pro or anti-legalization. And we understand the societal moral and cultural implications of what these voters in these states have decided. And we're not judging those. We're just trying to seek federal rule clarity to know who can banks lend to properly and appropriately and under law.